Hello, all, and welcome to Supernova Theories and Videos. Today, I want to discuss something in the Harry Potter universe that's a little more lighthearted, a little more fun, the kind of thing Voldemort would consider beneath him Quidditch. But you guys saw the title of the video today. You know it's not going to be all fun and games, though it is the kind of thing Harry and Ron would probably be talking about quite a lot, and that is why are the national teams in the UK so bad at Quidditch? First reason is geographical, and for that we have to ask the question,
How many countries are in this country?
well, Ted, there are four: England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. I'm sure someone will bring up Ireland and specifically them winning the Quidditch World Cup in 1994, but Ireland is not part of the United Kingdom, even though, as far as Harry Potter goes, the Ministry of Magic does claim Ireland as part of its state, and there is no Irish Ministry of Magic.
It's very complicated.
For Quidditch, though, it does seem separated, and I'll explain why later, but first I want to go over the history of the national teams in the UK, just to kind of explain just how bad they really have been for their entire existence. First, we'll start with Scotland. As far as I researched, I could not find evidence that they had ever qualified for a Quidditch World Cup. In 2014, they specifically don't qualify for the Cup in Brazil, and in 1994, they get slaughtered by Luxembourg. Next, I would go to Northern Ireland, but I couldn't even find any evidence that there has ever been a national Quidditch team there. And not for a lack of interest, though. I mean, the Ballycastle Bats are in Northern Ireland, and they've won the British and Irish Quidditch League 27 times. That's the second most in league history. Also, the British and Irish Quidditch League, for what it's worth, it does seem like there's that separation between the British and the Irish on Quidditch there, because it's not like it's ever referred to as the British and Irish Ministry of Magic, but on Quidditch they make sure to specify that difference, that it's not just the British Quidditch League, it's the British and Irish Quidditch League. Next, we'll look at Wales, and this is the first time we're looking at a nation that does have a team and has qualified for the World Cup. They did so in 2014, where right before the tournament began, the Brazilian manager called the Welsh Chasers talentless hags, and then Gwenog Jones, yes, that Gwenog Jones, who was the manager at the time, threatened to curse the face off of him. But if you're saying that right before the cup starts, this is clearly not a team that gets respect, and it's not really the kind of thing you say to somebody who's been there before and is a threat to win. And for what it's worth, they do go on to beat Germany in the first round 330 to 100, so a pretty strong win for them, but they do go on to lose in the next round of the cup to Brazil. And the only other time the Welsh national team made it to the World Cup was in '94, where they were defeated by Uganda. So that leaves England, who failed to qualify in 2014, and the reason why I keep bringing up the 2014 Cup is because it's one of the few that I could find good information on, and the only other time I could see where they were qualifying for the World Cup was in 1994, when they lost 390 to 10 to Transylvania. Let me say that again. 390 to 10. If you give them the 300-point swing of catching the snitch, they would have lost by 8 goals. It is the World Cup, and they score once. God, it's really embarrassing to be one of the 3 dragons on that shirt that year. The English did also qualify for the World Cup in 1877. One small problem with it: that's the tournament nobody remembers. The only thing that is known about the tournament is that English beater Lucas Bargeworthy lost all of his teeth somehow. And to be honest, I don't think that's exactly a sign that they did super well. Like, if I left any sporting event with no teeth, do you really think you'd look at me and say, hey, you must have done a great job, man? Okay, maybe hockey. Maybe. And that does make Lucas Bargeworthy one of the most noteworthy players for the English national Quidditch team. I mean, we could also look at Roderick Plumpton, who caught the snitch in record time as it flew up his sleeve right at the start of the match, and then he had to spend the rest of his life claiming that it was skill and the plan instead of just luck. Sounds like Felix Felicis to me. But the most notable is probably Ludo Bagman, three-time winner of the British and Irish Quidditch League Cup, beater on the 1981 national team, and leaker of sensitive information to the Death Eaters. Wait a minute, one of those doesn't fit. So now that we know a little more about the history, why are they so bad? First, I want to look at populations for it. There are 4 countries in this country, or maybe even 5, depending on how you look at it for the Ministry of Magic, even if the Irish seem to want independence for Quidditch, if nothing else. But anyway, at the one school that these 5 countries all send their children to, there are estimated between 260 and 500 students. Rowling has said around 1,000 in the past, but either way, there are 4 Quidditch teams at the school with 7 starters, so that's 28 players who you can consider in a given year, and not all of them are going to graduate. Then in the 90s, there's this little thing going on called a war, one that's been going on since the 70s on and off, so it's just hierarchy of needs. People are more focused on surviving than they are on entertainment, so Quidditch just isn't a priority at this time. Just imagine someone like James Potter. He's described as the best at everything, so that's gotta include Quidditch, and we know he was a Quidditch player, but as soon as he graduates, he joins the Order of the Phoenix so that he can fight against Voldemort. How many others do you think are making that same choice? Or the opposite choice, for that matter, too. Regulus Black was a seeker on the Slytherin Quidditch team, and as soon as he graduates, he joins the Death Eaters. Or consider those who are like Charlie Weasley, who chooses to work with dragons instead of pursuing a career in Quidditch when Oliver Wood says that he would have been good enough to play for England. And this is Oliver Wood. He lives and breathes Quidditch and ends up playing for Puddlemere United after he graduates Hogwarts. And Wood makes it as a reserve too, so how many players are even good enough when Harry is at Hogwarts to be professional athletes? Is it really just Wood and Ginny for the entirety of the 6 years that Harry's at Hogwarts? I mean, let's look at the Seekers in Harry's years, because that's the hardest position to play on the pitch. It's Harry himself, Draco Malfoy, Cho Chang, and Cedric Diggory who are the main ones, and they end up becoming an Auror, living off family wealth, married to a Muggle and a corpse.
My boy!
I'm sorry. No, I'm not.
Shame.
But population can't be the only reason. There are nations with smaller populations that make it to and win the World Cup, where the UK fails to. Part of it has to be how the ministry is investing in these teams, and this is where I think Ireland starts to separate itself from the other 4 nations. In the 1994 Quidditch World Cup, the Irish team is on Firebolts, while the English team is on Nimbus 2000s. So if they're both being funded by the Ministry of Magic, then why is one team on the newest broom and the other team is on a 3-year-old model that has had a newer model come out since then? This could explain why Luxembourg defeats Scotland in '94 because they're such a wealthy nation, but I think the bigger question is, why isn't Fudge making sure that all of his teams have the best possible equipment for this? He is the leader of the host nation. He should want his teams to succeed in this cup. All of the British teams should be on Firebolts, and even if you want to say that Fudge has more important things to spend gold on than a, new set of brooms, he could just call up Lucius Malfoy and ask for a donation. Lucius already bought his son's Quidditch team Nimbus 2001s, which are better than the brooms that the English team is on already. So, between the Malfoys and the other wealthy families, Fudge can just make a few calls and then all of the teams are on Firebolts. And if anyone says this is super corrupt for the government to do, let's remember we're talking about Fudge here. He would totally trade political favors for the opportunity to show off to the world that he has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Quidditch teams who are succeeding in the Quidditch World Cup hosted by his nation. Though I will agree that he doesn't think far enough ahead to even realize this. So, to sum up, we have a underpopulated, war-torn, underfunded, divided set of nations that has become an embarrassment on the global stage, and all I can say is, it's coming home, it's coming home, it's coming, Quidditch is coming home. 3 dragons on a shed, Quidditch World Cup still gleaming. Hundreds of years of hurt never stopped me dreaming.
You stink, loser!
Note to self, never sing again. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you thought of the video down in the comments below. If there's anything I missed on, is this why the UK is so bad at Quidditch, or should it be more Voldemort's fault because he ruins everything in the wizarding world? Don't know if I want to know what you guys think of my singing, though. I know it's bad, but hey, I'll take a comment if that's what you want to roast me on. But if you enjoyed the video today, please drop a like, subscribe if you want more like this, and I'll see you next time on STV.